Hello, Internet. My name is Chamomile.
And I'm Requiem 17.
Yeah, we're going through
You're really
Requiems like...
burning through them.
Yeah, no, we're going through Requiems like copy paper these days. I'm honestly not even sure what most of them
I was going to
link
ask, like,
to.
what happened to Requiem 3 through 16?
I've got to stop, like, telling you guys your model numbers when you wake up. I wouldn't be having this problem if I would just be like, yeah, no, it's cool, you're Requiem 3.
And what happened to original Requiem? Like, he survived the explosion. Where'd he go?
He wanders off. Hi there, buddy.
Maybe he went looking for Mother Sorrow.
I mean, I did see her briefly. It's
Was
the
she in
first
the
time
vents?
I've seen her. Well, like, she wasn't in the vents. It's the first time I've seen her since we got on board, right? And she wasn't in the vent when I caught a glimpse of her. But, like, I saw her, she gave me a wave, and then she went back into the vents. And, viewer, I feel like I should clarify here. When I say into the vents, you're probably expecting that this is like, one of those big movie vents that's like 3 feet wide, for ventilating some kind of huge office building that needs tons of airflow. I don't know. Those little 8-inch grates that you've got in the corner of, like, your average bedroom? It was like one of those. And she just went inside that. She didn't even open it. She just, like, melded through the bars of the grate. Which does at least answer the question of where Mother Sorrow went. I'm just not sure what she's doing in there.
I mean, when you and original Requiem did show up, she did, when she saw the vent, she did go, oh, this hole, it was made for me.
It's true, but, like, it's not the weirdest thing she said. I just kind of tuned it out.
I mean, I guess that's why you married her.
I don't think that's the reason, no. I think the reason why I wound up married to Mother Sorrow had a lot to do with the Arkansas government being an old hags club.
We're still in the, we're looking for the Thorian or something, right?
Yeah. Hang on. Where the hell is the refugee camp, though? Ah, here we are.
Excuse me.
Give me a super bouncy tank. Yeah, don't even worry about that. It's, the cloning tank did have, some mentions about not doing more than 6 clones, but honestly, I don't even know why I bring it up. I'm sure that's unrelated.
Yeah, probably.
Those warnings aren't even government mandated, so they probably just
Now,
do that to trick you into buying more cloning machines or something.
I do have to ask, was original Requiem blue?
Yes.
Huh.
Yes. As most Arkansasians are.
Oh.
And since we've brought up how ridiculous and unscientific a concept it is, there is a common trope in sci-fi, the idea of the clone degeneration disease of some kind, which I think the main use of that is, firstly, it can just be compelling to be living on borrowed time. That's a compelling idea, and it's an easy way to differentiate your
No, isn't that a real thing?
from
Because
your original.
isn't that a real thing? Because when you clone someone, every time your cells divide, the telomeres get a little shorter, and a clone's going to have the shortened telomeres.
What's going on? You won't get
So isn't that kind of a real thing?
Definitely not. Totally unscientifically founded. Don't read the pamphlet.
Also, it was funny before this. I always hated the trope of clones having the original's memories, but that turned out to be a real thing, as it turns out. So, I hated that trope to the island. Well, I guess original Requiem hated that trope, but boy, is his face blue.
We can talk this out. Nobody needs to get hurt.
You don't understand. It's not that easy. Communications are back up.
Yeah, so partly it's an easy way to, give the clone a challenge that does not face the original, despite them being theoretically identical. I think it's also partly a way to make cloning not, essentially an infinite source of extra lives as far as the plot and setting are concerned.
Yeah.
Are you going to tell them about the Thorian, or should I?
Like,
The what? It's a
presumably, if you've got 5 identical clones and you kill 4 of them, then for those 4 people, that's it. That's the end. But so far as the plot is concerned, it's just the same as if you had never made identical clones at all.
I won't let you hurt these people anymore. Drop your weapon or be prepared to use it.
If that's the way it has to be, heck, come on!
I like that they just let us kill him in the cutscene.
As if we
Like, you know what? This guy's a middle manager, and she's a specter. We don't need to play this one out.
I knew what was going on, and I didn't do anything. Don't you start.
So these are the people not under the control of the Thorian?
So what now,
Yes,
Commander?
they are observing the experiment.
I'll deal with the Thorian and make sure you're safe.
Mass Effect 1 did have a couple of good examples of alien intelligences. Talking about Number 4 had aliens, and
There's gotta be
it can be hard to really push on the make the personality, the intelligence of the creature different. But I feel like the Thorians and then the Rachni are, not amazing, but they at least make an attempt. For a lot of sci-fi will not even make the attempt.
Yeah, the Geth, too. Granted, these are all somewhat similar in that, they're all some kind of variation on a hive mind.
Yeah.
But still.
Now, here's a question. How do you define science fiction?
Speak with me. I've got a bit of a problem.
Very carefully.
I need to retrieve some
Expand on that.
but it pays well.
So like a lot of these things, science fiction isn't really,
catch.
a list of all of these things. It must have all of these things to be science fiction, and everything that has all of these things is science fiction. It's more a cluster of traits, and at this point, it's largely historically defined. Back in the murky mists of the 1920s, there was a fairly defined science fiction genre
I'll look around if I get the chance.
that,
That data could be worth a
dealt
lot of
with
money.
space and aliens and robots and etc.
Time to get moving.
But
Just keep in mind.
at this point, it's speciated into a lot of other genres that have speciated into a lot of other genres. So, is Star Wars science fiction? That one doesn't... there's not an answer to that. You know, some people will say, yes, it's science fiction because it has space in it. Other people will say, no, it's not science fiction because there's no trace of anything that could reasonably be called science. I need to... I still have no idea where I'm going. It doesn't help that I'm not paying very much attention. Okay, now I've definitely got a little X-y looking thing over in that direction. But yes, so science fiction, like there's central examples that are obviously science fiction, but then there's also a bunch of edge cases where it's not clear at all.
Yeah.
Any luck finding my workstation out in the ruins?
I haven't found your workstation or data yet.
Just keep it in mind while you're out there. Good luck.
But where is it? Like, you know where this is, or at least the general direction of it. Give me a goddamn waypoint. Which, in fairness, you know, this was like a 2007 game, something like that, 2008.
Yeah.
And so the whole Let's Play phenomenon had not really caught on, so the use case of, oh, this game should be easily navigable to someone who is not paying very much attention on at least one difficulty was, you know, not so much a consideration the way it is now.
Even then, the Mako is the worst.
Oh, yeah. But, problems with the Mako are not the problems I'm having right now. The problem I'm having right now is the problem that's plagued me ever since I got here, which is that I'm not sure where to go next, because I am only paying the barest minimum of attention. Pretty much like, you know, I already know how this plot goes, so I've forgotten. Do I need to go deeper in here? Or am I headed back outside?
I think with science fiction, like, obviously you have to break down, well, the first use of the word, first recorded use of the word is Hugo Gernsback in one of his magazines, the What Science Fiction Means to Me essay.
So the very first instance, which I love this, the very first use of the word science fiction is someone trying to figure out what the word science fiction means.
I think, as I recall, he was actually asking for people to write in and say what that meant to them. I would have to pull up the OED and see if that's correct, but I think it was like an essay contest, which to me implies that the word was already floating around in the ether.
Yeah, for someone talking about what it means, it certainly at minimum must have been in use already.
Yeah. Before that, you would see the term science romance. So, like, Jules Verne novel or H.G. Wells would be like, it's not called a science fiction, but science romance. I don't remember if we talked about the fiction versus romance divide.
Yeah, that came up in the Kingdom Hearts season, but if it's relevant again, we should briefly recap
it. Fiction is more grounded, is usually more realistic. Romance is big. It's like very emotional. You're going to fall and die. Please tell me you saved.
This is the stupidest way to even be able to die.
We're falling into the vast. Yeah, so genre fiction usually gets put under romance. Go to a bookstore, like anything that's marked genre, whether it's romance, science fiction, fantasy, horror, whatever, is usually romance. And then the regular fiction section is a novel. So the shift from science romance to science fiction can be seen kind of as a rebranding effort. And Hugo Gernsback was primarily a marketer.
What science fiction means to me. It means that I can write a novel that's like Jules Verne's, but marketable.
Yeah, there's respectability. There's a lot of respectability around that divide. Like, it is historically anything romance has been looked down upon. Like, that's going away in academia. Like, there's a lot more looking at it is like, and that's always kind of been an artificial divide. You will get like you've always gotten people who write genre but write very grounded and more realistic genre stuff. Like Orson Scott Card's works are very like written in a much more realist style, even as they are science fiction. And I feel like that's one of the innovations that Tolkien brought to the fantasy genre. Is it's got a the Lord of the Rings has a deep realist streak that fantasy did not have before then. But putting that aside, I think you have to break it down. Like, obviously, you cannot have science fiction until you have some sort of understanding of science. So you will go back and you can look at stuff before the modern era. Like, people look at like like the Talos Golem and be like, oh, this is a science fiction story. Like, well, from Greek mythology, it's like it's not science. There's no concept of science in ancient Greece.
Yeah, there's a metal man in it, but that's rather a reach.
What is it, Joker?
We're getting a lot of guest comm chatter.
I almost see the argument that science fiction is an attempt to recapture the enchantment of the world that was removed by the Enlightenment. Like, science fiction kind of re-enchants the world via science.
And it also steadily goes obsolete because of that. You know, the reality of the science is never as exciting or as romantic as the science fiction, had hoped.
You will see writers talk about the sense of wonder that science fiction is supposed to have. Even if and it goes back to like a lot of scientists are deeply fascinated and are enchanted with the things they study.
Yeah, unfortunately, most people are not enchanted by slime molds. You do occasionally get people like Carl Sagan, who are really good at communicating that sense of wonder, but it's a rare gift.
Ferrum is going to adopt Slime Mold 1. Using the scope has been so effective, I wonder if that's how you're supposed to fight enemies in the Mako.
Oh shit, there's still one shooting at me.
You might want to heal.
I'm waiting for it to refresh.
That is annoying. This is the worst part of the game.
Yeah.
The one part where the Mako works is at the very end when you're rushing towards the portal. Like, that felt exciting. That part they captured, I think, the feeling they wanted to get.
And you do need experience with the Mako in order to get that. If that's the first time you've used the Mako, then it'll be too jarring. You'll be trying to get to grips with it at the same time as you're in this big, exciting chase scene, and it won't work at all. But, yeah, the Mako needed a lot of polish that it never got. I think those red dots are above me, aren't they? drive the Mako through this. Yeah, it didn't say I could drive it gracefully.
Please help us.
That's my mom. Stop! Stop! They're over.
I don't. We've probably seen it. We've probably seen it, but I have not noticed it. The what I call the Bioware handoff. Like, I'm sure it's happened, where somebody is handing you an item, but they hand it this weird way, so it's under the camera, so you don't actually see them interacting with it.
Right.
You won't get away.
It's my favorite thing because it pops up in basically every Bioware game.
Get away from her, you son of a...
There's something similar to that has happened, which was
Damn it!
when
Come on where I can
the Lisbeth there exits the Mako. You know, she exits down the side opposite the camera, so that, you know, she's
taking control.
clearly what they're doing is they just spawn her outside the Mako.
We can talk this out. Nobody needs to get hurt.
That's a lie. I don't have enough paragated points to talk you down.
Indications are back up. Exogeny wants this place purged.
This is a human colony, John. You can't just repurpose us.
It's not just you.
Now, if it were Aquarian colony, that would be okay. No offense, Tally.
Few colonists.
Are you going to tell them about the Thorian, or should I? The what?
It's a telepathic life form living under Zoo's hope. It's taking control of the colonists there. Exogeny knew all along.
You won't get away with this, John.
So you keep saying, but nobody's gonna miss a few colonists.
Gone way too far. This ends now.
If that's the way it has to be, heck, come on, come on!
As if we don't have enough.
The cinematography on that, like, you know, they're trying to do a thing where the guards
It's my fault.
prepare for a fight, and then your companions are ready for a fight, and the guards think better of it.
Don't you start.
But the cinematography on that was real
You
choppy.
know it. So what now, Commander?
Yep.
I need to find out why the Geth are after the Thorian. The colonists won't let you near the Thorian. They'd die first. They're under its control.
Cool.
What else am I supposed to do?
There's gotta be another way.
I think there is. You could safely use a nerve agent to neutralize the colonists.
Like a gas grenade.
Sounds good. I'll do what I can. Excellent. Thank you so much, Commander.
We'll stay out of your way.
You've had a grenade launcher this entire time?
Yeah, well, it's not very useful.
Is that what happened to Requiem 7?
I've got a bit of
You were testing it out?
I mean, it barely even explodes. Honestly, it's mostly his fault.
What do you need?
I need to retrieve some data. It's not a big job, but it pays well.
Sounds easy enough. What's the catch?
No catch, really. It's dangerous work, but not for someone like you.
What is it about you that makes people assume we enjoy being in harm's way?
It's not that bad, really. All you need to do is find my console at Exogeny headquarters and drop the data onto this OSD. It's that simple.
I'll look around if I get the chance.
I appreciate it.
I am probably going to ignore this side
Lot of
quest.
money. Of course, this all depends on getting out of here alive.
Time to get moving.
Just keep in mind what I said.
Alright, now I'm supposed to have some kind of nerve agent gas, but I can't seem to actually equip it, so like it's not in my inventory. So I think we're just going to murder all the colonists.
This is not a Paragon run through, is it?
I mean, not if I'm going to have to spend however long trying to figure out how to actually do so. I've already spent enough time running around in circles. We are finishing the Theros plotline this episode. Theros. Theros? Theros.
Are we?
I mean, we got like half an hour.
We could potentially. Don't think you can fit the Mako through there.
Yeah, but this isn't where I want to go. Well, I'll try driving in the opposite direction then. I think this is the way. Yeah, the map on this game has an unhelpful lack of any ability to zoom out.
That is unfortunate.
Aha! Living creatures. It's usually a good sign.
I mean, they're Geth. Are they living?
Well, strictly speaking, no. Point is, they haven't been killed.
There's a cutscene. That's a good sign. Is that a husk?
Yeah. Of some sort. Ah, it's a Thorian house.
Oh no, it's a Thorian creeper.
That thing was not one of the colonists. No amount of infection could have done that.
No hitting the colonists. Even if the Thorian makes them fire on us. That's what the gas grenades are for.
I'm gonna try and use these gas grenades. So if these things aren't colonists, then what are they? They're clearly humanoids.
Doesn't like the Thorian spit them out?
I think I do remember that. Yeah, that grenade doesn't seem to have done anything. Change of plan, guys. So when I said no shooting on the colonists, what I meant is that I wanted to kill them all personally.
The brain parasite reasserts itself.
Where's the... Ah, here we are. Well, they just have a loading screen anyway. So that's the way to the tunnels. Alright, yeah. Hang a left here. There's a lot of stairs here. I do like this plotline, though. It has a very nice pace to it. You know, you can tell there's something kind of off very early on, slowly reveals what's going on, and then you have a dramatic confrontation with a weird and alien antagonist.
You know, of the 3 starter worlds, I honestly feel like Liara's is the best.
Probably, yeah. Like, I mean, you know, you show up, Liar's there, you shoot some Krogan. If there's more to it than that, I have forgotten it, which doesn't speak well to how engaging it was. Novaria's got some corporate espionage shenanigans going on, which is kind of interesting. This one feels like it could just be a Star Trek episode, which is great.
I've not watched a lot of Star Trek.
Well, it's a lot like this.
Kirk or Picard?
Oh, Picard easily. The original series is overrated. Fight me, fanboys.
Ooh, shots fired.
Like Cisco or Picard, that's an actual, you know. I don't feel like I'm qualified to render a verdict on that one. But Kirk or Picard, man. The original series had a lot of Gene Roddenberry in it. And honestly, the less he had to do with Star Trek, the better it got.
Yeah.
Oh, it is directly underneath the Zeus Hope, isn't it? Okay.
Well, with the next generation, when they realized that the Ferengi did not work as villains, and they shifted over to having the Borg be the main villains, even though the Borg are very blatantly ripped off from the Cybermen from Doctor Who, the Ferengi never really worked as villains.
Yeah.
They're too funny.
Just going completely the wrong way, aren't I? Just killed the pace of this. The Ferengi, especially in their initial depiction, like their first episode, are too obviously... Like, they are comprised of nothing but evil traits. Which, like, you know, that's not to say that there aren't people out there who are just, you know, pure evil. And that you couldn't have had the Ferengi be, you know, governed by a society like that. But they would still have traits besides their flaws, right? Like, they would have hobbies and stuff. Whereas the Ferengi, in their early depictions, were just this pure, distilled representation of capitalist evil and nothing else. Which really made them came across as really goofy.
Now, assuming through this playthrough, you are going to follow all of the rules of acquisition.
I want to quote a rule of acquisition for comedic effect, but I can't remember even one of them. In fairness, at least a couple of them seems to have been, or, you know, implied to have been made up by the, what's it, the Ferengi speaking, you know, on the spot. I do know, I can't remember the numbers on them, but there's 2 rules of acquisition right next to each other, which are that war is good for business and also peace is good for business.
33 and 34.
Ah.
They definitely want to.
See, I keep trying to throw these grenades out and they aren't doing anything. I don't know what I'm doing wrong.
You're not following rule of acquisition number 22.
Which
A
is,
wise man can hear profit in the wind.
Hold the line!
I don't feel like a rule of acquisition. Like, how am I supposed to... How does following that rule help me acquire things?
Cam, you're forgetting rule 217. You can't free a fish from water.
I mean, that does feel like it's an actual rule of some kind, but... It's not clear what that means or how it applies.
Cam, hear all, trust nothing.
Is that a rule of acquisition, or... Because that feels like the motto of an intelligence agency.
Cam, never make fun of Ferengi's mother.
Coming from the Ferengi, I don't know if that's actually, like... It feels like it might not be a bad idea, just something they'd rather we not do. I mean, they don't seem to be very fond of their females. So, you know. Also, like, the misogyny thing was kind of bizarre next to the hyper-capitalist thing. They bring it up in DS9 about how, like, yeah, they make up slightly over half the population, but they contribute nothing to gross planetary product. It's like, yeah, hyper-capitalists would not be keeping women out of the workforce. That is not how you do a capitalism.
Which is why the ruler passes a law allowing Ferengi females to wear clothes.
Which, again, it's just, you know, the...
Trust me. It wants me to stop you, but I won't.
Have we not established
I won't.
Ridiculous Shepard's willingness to shoot here? So, the second he pulled a gun on him, this guy should have been riddled with lead.
She found him doing it himself more entertaining.
But yeah, an evil galactic empire whose women are all required by law to be naked at all times feels very Gene Roddenberry.
Yeah, didn't he like the psychic? I heard that the psychic race in Next Generation was originally supposed to have 3 boobs.
The Betazades?
The Betazades.
I mean, I had not heard that, but it fits. And it's exactly the kind of thing where someone would say no on the grounds of cost.
We are gonna need bigger guns.
Originally, yeah, according to the wiki, originally Gene Roddenberry conceived the Betazoid females as having 4 breasts. So not 3, but 4.
I mean, at least at that point, they would presumably still be symmetrical. You know, in symmetrical rows in the ways that mammalian breasts are. Although, honestly, that kind of makes it worse, because at least with the 3 breasts, it becomes, like, just absolutely comical.
Your every step is a transgression. 1,000 feelers appraise you as meat.
His wife told him it was a bad idea.
I speak for the old growth as
I mean, at least I guess he listened to
You
feedback.
are within and before the Thorian. It commands that you be in awe. You gave something to Saren. Something I need.
Theron sought knowledge of those who are gone. The old growth listened to flesh for the first time in the long cycle. Trades were made. Then cold ones began killing the flesh that would tend the next cycle. Flesh fairly given. The old growth sees the air you push as lies. It will listen no more.
Give me what I need, and I'll strike back at the one who betrayed you.
No more will the Thorian listen to those that scurry. Your lives are short, but have gone on too long. Your blood will feed growth.
Can't tell if I'm jittering because the particle effects on these biotics are causing me processor lag, or just because that's an effect of the biotic.
Kind of an open question. None of the textures are loading super great. Shooting it doesn't do anything.
Made me feel better.
Okay, I guess it did something. Doesn't do anything within the game.
Anyway, I have unlimited ammo, and I was just waiting for more creepers to show up, so...
I hate they got rid of unlimited ammo in the next,
Definitely something different in this area.
They should have kept that.
Yeah, and overheat
Made it feel
mechanic is a perfectly
different.
good way of limiting ammo. Apparently people just could not understand the concept of overheating. Okay, I know what you are. Can you please die?
That's probably fine.
I'm on a pretty low difficulty. I'm sure as long as I don't have to get into a helium balloon tank.
You must die.
It was like you knew what was about to happen.
How far back are we here?
Oh god.
All right. Kira, what is that?
Yes, you're very impressive, but I already saw this the one time, so... If we could hurry this along...
Invade. I speak for the old growth as I did for...
You gave something to Saren.
Then cold ones began killing the flesh that would...
I won't let you keep your thralls.
No more will... Your blood will feed...
She actually went down much easier than before. And now I wait for more creepers to arrive. So that... here we go. Gotta get my shotgun working. Shotguns are fun. So BioWare does seem to have been trying sort of slightly different genres with each one of these 3 planets. You know, you have the this very high concept Star Trek-y kind of thing for here on Pharos. In Novaria, you have this very espionage spy thriller sort of thing. And then on the dig site, you have a harem anime.
What? In what way?
Just that the only notable thing that happens on that planet is you pick up Liara, who is, you know, the sexy space elf. That's the word I'm looking for.
They didn't do the sexy space dwarves until the sequel.
I mean, honestly, that would have been original and kind of interesting. Like, it would have been bizarre enough to make me notice, at least. Ah, here we are.
So we're going to end up fighting Matriarch Benzozia without having Liara, which is... So we're like, oh yeah, we killed your mom.
That's right.
It's fine, it's fine. So it's good to have, like, you don't have to have stuff that's not in a prescribed order, but it can end up with weird places. Like, I got, in Dragon Age 2, I got Fenris so late, like, he had no impact on, like, he was basically a non-entity in my party, because, like, I had got him, like, just before the end of, like, the first act. Because, like, the original plan was not even to romance Anders, it was to romance Fenris, but for some reason I did the, Fenris quest last. I don't know what about it. I was like, I need to do this last. I don't want to do this.
My grenade's working too. Like, I'm playing the pure guns class, but then I don't have my equipment sorted, so I don't have half of my guns. The gunplay in Mass Effect is also not great, but, I mean, I'm not a huge fan of the biotics either, so...
Yeah, the biotics were kind of terrible. So we're just going to drop this thing in a big hole.
That's what I do with most of my problems.
Is that what you did with the other Requiems?
I mean, only the ones that became problems.
You might want to heal. Please don't die again. I hate party-based games where if your main character loses consciousness, the game is over.
Yeah. I mean, real-time party-based games are... There's basically 2 ways you can go. You can either do the Kingdom Hearts thing, where your party members mean absolutely nothing. They are so inept that you barely even notice their absence. Or you can do... Ace Combat 5 did this. I mean, even Ace Combat 5 wasn't terrible about this, because it's rare to see someone really go to an extreme on this, but your party members are so good, or in Ace Combat 5's case, so numerous, that they can basically win the game for you.
Now, Mass Effect is in continuity with Kingdom Hearts, right?
As far as I know, yeah. The Kingdom Hearts continuity is so difficult to keep track of that I just kind of assume everything is in continuity with it. I'm right more often than not. Because, it's can go to any property owned by Disney, which it's a pretty expansive list. Reminds you of a Shut Up and Sit Down review. They were reviewing, I can't remember the name, but it's a game that's basically, a board game that's basically aliens with the serial numbers filed off. And so for the first couple minutes of the review, they're doing a bit where they talk about how they're reviewing Aliens, the board game, and halfway through, the one co-host who hasn't been in the review so far, it's been the other guy. He comes out and he says, whoa, we can't be reviewing Alien, the board game. Disney's going to get all over us. And, there's like, does Disney own Aliens? It's like, of course they do. It's a film. The hilarious thing is that, since the Fox acquisition, Disney does in fact own the Aliens franchise.
By hilarious, you mean depressing?
I don't know if they even knew that when they wrote the joke.
See, if I was the Thorian, at some point I would have realized that I was going to lose this fight, and I would have, tried to do some sort of negotiation. Is that an option? I can't remember. It's been so long since I've played. Please don't die.
I don't think it is.
You must die. You must die.
Did you not install the Thorian romance mod?
I had to uninstall all of my mods to get the nude mod out. Because, of course, as long-term viewers will know, I have nude mods installed on every game on my computer, up to and including Minecraft.
I mean, the Endermen are already nude.
Minesweeper is usually the one I use for that gag, and I think I have to go back to that one, because now that I think about it, there probably are nude mods from Minecraft, aren't there?
And again, the Endermen are already nude, so what more do you need?
Yeah, but, it's not tantalizing to me unless I have added nude content to the game. I have to violate the intent of the devs. Otherwise, it doesn't count.
Are Endermen technically twinks?
I think they're in the Jack Skellington zone. Where it's technically yes, but they're so far into it that they're no longer recognizable.
Don't you dare put that graphic back on the screen. How many more of these nodes do we have to shoot?
I think we're on the last one, but they really should have stuck with the rule of 3 on this one.
You must die.
This entire section is just, you have to fight Asari clones with the Thorian creepers. There's not really any more to it.
You must die.
Mass Effect doesn't do auto-leveling, does it?
I don't know.
It doesn't level up the opposition with you?
I have no idea.
Because if it does, then, that would suggest there's an optimal order to do the worlds in based on difficulty. Which we have entirely ignored. believe we're coming up on the last node here. Oh hey, I got shotgun ammo at some point. It's neat.
Oh, cutscene.
I'm free. I suppose I should thank you for releasing me.
How did you end up inside that thing?
My name is Shiala. I served Matriarch Benezia. When she allied herself with Saren, so did I. Benezia foresaw the influence Saren would have. She joined him to guide him down a gentler path. But Saren is compelling. Benezia lost her way.
Are you saying Saren can control minds?
That's not the option I picked at all.
Yeah, you said he tricked her, and that turned into. That's the problem with voice protagonists. Like,
Voice protagonist, and also just that's the problem with the dialogue wheel, you know, giving you a 3-4 word summary instead of just the entire line.
Asari matriarchs are among the most intelligent and powerful beings in the galaxy. How could one fall under Saren's control?
Saren is tricky.
An enormous warship unlike anything I've ever seen. He calls it sovereign. It can dominate the minds of his followers. They become indoctrinated to Saren's will. The process is slow. It can take days, weeks, but in the end, it is absolute. I was a willing slave when Saren brought me to this world. He needed my biotics to communicate with the Thorian, to learn its secrets. Saren offered me in trade. I was sacrificed to secure an alliance between Saren and the Thorian.
Then why were the Geth trying to destroy the Thorian?
After Saren had what he needed, the Thorian became a liability. Saren knows you are searching for the conduit. He knows you're following his steps. He attacked the Thorian so you could not gain the cipher.
What's the cipher?
Those two options are probably the same thing.
The beacon on Eden Prime gave you visions. But the visions are unclear, confusing. They were meant for a Prothean mind. To truly comprehend them, you must think like a Prothean. You must understand their culture, their history, their very existence.
I mean, the visions that I got weren't lacking in cultural context. They were scrambled, flashing images. I feel like I don't need to understand their culture, I need my brain rewired to work more like theirs.
So the Thorian taught Saren to think like a Prothean. How?
The cipher is the very essence of being a Prothean. It cannot be described or explained. It would be like describing color to a creature without eyes. To understand, you must have access to endemic ancestral memory. A viewpoint spanning thousands of Prothean generations. I sensed this ancestral memory, the cipher, when I melded with the Thorian. Our identities merged, our minds intertwined. Such knowledge cannot be taught. It simply exists.
I need that knowledge to stop Saren.
There is a way. I can transfer the knowledge from my mind to yours, as I did with Saren. Try to relax, Commander. Slow, deep breaths. Let go of your physical shell. Reach out to grasp the threads that bind us, one to another. Every action sends ripples across the galaxy. Every idea must touch another mind to live. Each emotion must mark another's spirit. We are all connected. Every living being united in a single glorious existence. Open yourself to the universe.
I am apparently very trusting.
Embrace its
Like, obviously, I need this cipher to continue, so ultimately this is the only correct choice.
The live action bits in this are weird. With the weird, like,
Yeah.
this whole thing was weird.
Like, I almost want to call it organometallic, except not really, because it's just metal bits jammed into organic material.
Which the Reapers are not techno-organic. They're just robots.
Right. But also, yeah, it's like, oh yeah, I was totally working for Saren. I helped him get what he wants. Please open your mind to me so that I can psionically merge with you.
Protheans are part of you now.
Sure,
Don't
she's
worry,
like-
I'm not going to do anything sinister.
Right.
Commander Shepard, are you alright?
I saw something. It still didn't make any sense.
Again, got 3 very different choices on the dialogue wheel. I feel like that line she actually gave could have followed on from any of them.
You look a little unsteady, Commander. Perhaps you should return to the Normandy.
I'm sorry if you have suffered, but there was no other way. You needed the cipher. In time, it will help you understand the vision from the beacon.
Now that you're free of the Thorian, what are you planning to do next?
If you allow it, I would like to stay here with the colonists. They have suffered greatly, and I played a role in their suffering. I would like to make amends.
Alright, I gotta go with the Renegade one on this one.
Too often. I have no choice.
Just because the Renegade option is subtly hilarious.
If this is the fate you feel I deserve, then I will not resist.
Why did I need 2 shots? That was execution style. Did you miss?